Okay, so your Bobcat zero turn, it has a separate motor on the back of it for your bagger. All right, we'll refer to this as the bagger motor. Now, a common problem with these is the exhaust has two bolts that hold that exhaust on. They tend to get a lot of vibration, those motors, and those exhausts come loose. Now, to get to those, the two nuts that hold that on, it's kind of hard to get a socket or a wrench in there. You can get it on one of them, but the one on the back side is hard to get to. So what we're going to cover in this tutorial today is how to remove that guard, which has the fan blade inside, and be able to get to those two bolts on the exhaust, and what you can do to fix your exhaust if your studs are stripped out like mine were. So this is what a bagger motor looks like. Here is the Bobcat here. And the bagger motor would sit back here. As you can see, we have it disconnected. It's over here on the bench. Now, I had already taken the exhaust off of this, but the problem with these is this exhaust gets a lot of vibration and it starts shaking loose. The two bolts that stick out of the exhaust are kind of hard to get to tighten them up, or sometimes the actual studs get broken or stripped out, and it's just unrepairable without taking this whole system off the front here. Now, I had to put two new studs in, and but basically, before we get to that, I'm going to show you what you have to do to remove this whole system to get to that exhaust. Now, I already took all the bolts off. I just have a couple on to show you really quickly how to do it. All right, so around your Bobcat housing here, you're going to have a bunch of nuts and bolts. These are 7/16. All right, you can't get a socket on here because it's really tight. You're going to need two wrenches, one 7/16 to turn and one to hold the other side. All right, now this one, I just have one nut and bolt in here holding it together, just for sake of speeding up the video. Once you have all those nuts and bolts out, this whole assembly in the front will come off like so. And that leaves us down to this area here where you have the big fan blade here. All right, what you're going to need here in the center is a 9/16, which I already loosened up. So you're going to want to take that off next with a 9/16. All right, and there's going to be, see that little socket on the bottom? Let me show you where that went in case this falls out on you. That's going to basically be sitting in the center there. All right, so don't lose that. Now, your next two are going to be 7/16. You want to back these out. All right, I had already had these loosened. Now, this blade is going to be stuck on there. It's not just going to pull off. The way you want to get this off is, see these holes we took the 7/16 bolts out of? Well, there's these other two holes. Now, you want to thread these in really carefully. Thread it in, you're going to feel it get tight, and then do another one on this side here. And thread it in until you feel it get tight. All right, now, what you're going to do is get a 7/16 ratchet socket, and you're going to turn that and drive these in equally. Okay, do a couple turns. You can turn this one all the way in until it hits the back, turn this one in until it hits the back. Then what you want to do is turn this one a little bit, turn this one a little bit. You want to try to turn them equally. And keep turning, keep turning. You don't want to break these bolts. And at some point, you will hear this pop. And what that's doing is it's actually pushing this out and acting as a pulley for you, as a puller. All right, once that's out, you'll be able to pull that off. I dropped the bolt here. Now, your whole blade will come off like that, exposing that. Under here, there will be 4 more bolts holding the rest of this shroud on here. All right, these are going to be 1/2 inch, and I have them just sitting in there for purpose of the video. All right, then that will slide off like that. Keep your bolts right there in the pan. Now, your exhaust is fully exposed. Okay, the way this was, okay, it was like that. Now, when that shroud was on, it was really hard to get to these bolts with a socket or a wrench, and they keep vibrating loose. Well, what happened here was these studs actually, from not being tightened up all the time, eventually they just broke off inside the head. So what I had to do was get a bolt extractor to take them out, and I had to make new studs. So I took this was a metric. So I took an actual metric bolt here, and I put some red thread locker on there, and I tightened it back down in there, and then I took a Dremel tool and I cut the head of this off. All right, and that gave me 2 new studs to put in there. Now I can easily put my exhaust back on there, and then I'll get 2 nuts and a locking washer to put on there, and that's it. That's how you fix the exhaust. And then you just repeat the process of putting everything back on there, and it's pretty simple. So if this video helped you out, guys, please hit subscribe below. I need about 150 more subscribers to be able to monetize my videos to reach my 1,000 subscriber limit. And I'll actually get paid every day for doing these finally after years and years of work. So please hit subscribe, give me a like, and I'll see you next time.